Freedom in China versus freedom in America. Which one is real?
Americans think they're free and Chinese think they're free. But freedom isn't universal, it's cultural. The US didn't get China wrong, the US got America wrong. And this isn't about politics, it's about culture.
The concept of freedom is another topic that causes a lot of confrontation between Chinese and Americans on social media.
Do Chinese people really trust their government? One of my recent videos went a bit viral, and in the comments I saw this. Is it safe for you to say this? Aren't you worried you will go to jail?
We are here to bridge the gap, and I'm back again with another informational compilation. Understanding the cultural concept informing the term freedom will be very key in carrying out this duty. Like the video for recommendation, subscribe if you're new here, share your thoughts in the comment section. There's a lot to unpack here. Kindly follow.
Freedom in China versus freedom in America. Which one is real? Maybe both. Because the word freedom depends on what's really oppressing you. Every country defines freedom differently. It's based on their history of oppression. I'm Leia, intercultural analyst in China. Let me explain the difference. In the US, freedom means being free from the government, because America was born out of rebellion against the British governance. The trauma is too much control. So freedom became very personal. Speak what you want, own what you want, be whoever you want, even if society feels very chaotic. But in China, it's totally the opposite. Freedom means being free from chaos. China's pain didn't come from government oppression. It came from no government at all. It came from 100 years of instability, warlords, civil wars, colonization, starvation. That's Chinese people's most sorrowful memory. Can you imagine that? My grandparents, in their generation, people were even starved to death. So for many Chinese, peace, order, and a predictable future without life being threatened is freedom. Or we can say the best situation. So that's why Chinese people don't like unregulated freedom. And American people don't understand Chinese mindset. It's natural because you've never gone through our situations. One side fears anarchy, the other fears governance. But both are just trying to protect what they value most.
What's freedom for you is not freedom for someone else. So American freedom equals right to do whatever you want, even if it harms others. Chinese collectivism means freedom equals the right to do what you want as long as it doesn't harm others. American low-context freedom means explicit legal rights, and Chinese high-context freedom means implicit social harmony. Same word, freedom. Opposite meaning, though. For example, in China, 99.9% of the cities are safe for solo travel and under 24/7 surveillance. That ensures security. America has cities with no-go zones, freedom to get robbed without surveillance. Americans call Chinese surveillance oppression. Chinese call American crime rate chaos. And while citizens of each country are legally free to travel where they want, who actually has the freedom? Americans can criticize their president, but can't threaten their president. Chinese can't criticize their president or threaten their president. Both countries had limits on speech. They just placed the limits in different places. And here's the historical pattern. Every culture defines freedom differently. The French Revolution, freedom from monarchy. The Russian Revolution, freedom from capitalism. American Revolution, freedom from government. Chinese Revolution, freedom from chaos. Freedom isn't universal. It's whatever your culture was oppressed by.
These are Chinese core values. It started at least 10 years ago. It's almost ubiquitous in China. But ironically, if I ask my friends in China, what's the core value? And they can name 3, maybe 4 or 5 the most. People just don't think about it. It's just slogan. And if you single something out, say democracy, right? The kind of disconnection of reality is obvious because most of the, say, the mayor, okay, or the representative are not really elected, right? So there's a lot of room to, if democracy is a core value, there's a lot to improve. But nobody is talking about that disconnection. In fact, nobody is talking about democracy. And if you talk about democracy, actually, you won't get into trouble, it's not even the government that's gonna get you in trouble. It's the social norm of not talking about democracy. Okay, say if I've never been out of China. Okay, I'm with a group of friends, and I brought up democracy as a topic. Okay. The rest of my friends is going to be very defensive. Like, are you talking about Western democracy? That's toxic. Because, okay, so the term people associate so much with the Western way of doing things. So democracy become a synonym of Western value, okay? Ironically, it's also our core value, but people's emotional level, democracy is a Western value. Is to a lot of people, it's something that not us, is theirs. So talking about democracy, there's no definition, but the first reaction people have is not good, which is not good because democracy itself is nothing wrong about it, right? Like communism, okay? When you talk about communism, a lot of people's reaction is very negative. But communism itself, there's nothing wrong with it as an idea, okay? So communism has been so much associated with the way of others. Just mentioning it gets a very negative reaction. So it's not exactly the mirror kind of thing, but democracy today, mentioning in China, will get that kind of reaction. Are you talking about Western value that we don't want to follow? Or people specify that we want our own version of democracy.
Hi. People often say China doesn't have freedom of speech. You post something, even slightly political or sensitive, and boom, it's deleted or hidden within minutes. And yes, that does happen. But the real question is why? Is it just about control? Or is there more to understand? In China, online platforms follow a different logic. The government places a high value on social harmony and collective stability. Unlike in Western societies where freedom of speech focuses more on individual expression, China focuses more on unity and order, especially during times of rapid development. China's economic reform only began in the late 1970s. That's less than 60 years ago. When a country is trying to lift hundreds of millions out of poverty, too much noise or harmful information can disrupt progress. And let's be honest, people everywhere are shaped by the information around them. In China, those with limited global exposure may be more influenced by one-sided or emotional content. But in the West, it's not so different. Even with free speech, many live in information bubbles. Algorithms feed us what we already believe. Different platforms reflect different ideologies. In the end, most people, no matter where they live, see only a narrow slice of reality. And even here on TikTok, if you post something too radical or too sensitive, it can get filtered or taken down. So in reality, no platform offers complete freedom of speech. You can't just say anything you want anywhere, whether you're in China, Europe, or the US. The boundaries are just drawn differently. So China's approach isn't just about control. It's about choosing focus over chaos, stability over disruption, especially in a developing context. I'm not here to say what's right or wrong. I simply want to give you more background and perhaps a new lens to look at things. How you interpret that, that's up to you. I trust that you will form your own opinion based on your own thinking and experience. But what I really hope is that you keep an open mind, because the opinion you hold today doesn't define how you will always see the world. Your views may change as your life experience and perspective evolve, and that's completely okay. What matters is staying curious, respectful, and open. More and more Chinese, like myself, have had the chance to live abroad. We've seen the world from different angles. That gives us perspective. And in many ways, we've become a cultural messengers, understanding our own culture more deeply while helping others see China with more nuance. From my experience, I truly feel that China is becoming more open step by step. So, what do you think? Does understanding the context change your view on this topic? And if you like this video more than my previous ones, give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. Bye.
Do you want to know why China actually has more freedom than US? Now, hear me out, because this might sound like a stretch, but it makes a lot of sense if you hear what I'm trying to say here. So, in US, we have this idea that we have freedom and nothing is censored. But that's actually far from the truth. Like, everything is censored to a certain degree. And in fact, government controls quite a lot of them. Now, in China, yes, absolutely there's censorship. But the thing is, everybody in China knows that. Like, that's the thing. Everybody knows the government is censoring stuff. So people go out and reach out for new things. Like, they get VPNs, they travel. So they'll go explore if you're privileged, right? So I think that's the difference between freedom. I don't know what that is really. Maybe we give too much freedom, too much control, but it's a balance, right? But I do think it's important for the citizens to know what is happening as opposed to just blindly promoting that there's freedom of speech and there's no censorship, because that's far from the truth from any country. Anyways, comment below if you want to discuss this. I think it's an interesting topic from all countries, actually.
Comparison is a killer of joy, they say. I read that expression from the comment section. I hope you're enjoying the compilation to this extent. I am seeing this from the word freedom. There are people who believe to be so free until they traveled, and others' definition of freedom kind of challenged what they had going on. Check this.
If this was America, what I've just done now is a crime. Can you believe it? If you open an alcoholic beverage, just open, I've not even had a sip of it, that is a crime. It's against the law.
I remember one time I was walking around and I heard these loud sounds that I thought were gunshots, and people were just like, there's no guns in China, that doesn't happen. No mass shootings. I also had a job where I was paid really, really well, and I had a housing allowance. So I was actually able to save money. I was sick, I had access to world-class healthcare. But again, this was me as a foreigner living in China.
From what I'm learning right here, Americans who have been to China have a different definition of freedom. It's no longer just the freedom of speech, but it's also the freedom of an affordable healthcare. It's a freedom of kind of safety, They want to feel safe in the country they are. And it could also mean just grabbing a cup of drink wherever you want to drink from and just grab it and drink, because that's what they have seen happening in other countries. So Chinese also have a censorship that they are aware of. That's why this creator spoke of feeling more free in China than in America, because he traveled to the land of the free and then realized that information was censored and he never knew that it was censored. The evidence for that is the TikTok ban and what we experienced with Americans moving on Dreadnought, and also realizing that, okay, China isn't what we thought of. So China is just one part of the world that they're lied to about. I don't know what else they have misconceptions about. I've seen also many Americans traveling to Africa lately, and they're realizing that, okay, it's not what we knew it was. What I really want to get from this conversation is your own definition of freedom. What's your philosophy of life? How do you understand life? How would you define freedom based on how you understand life? For me, I look at freedom as the ability to travel, explore. I want to be exposed. That freedom for me. Freedom is being able to be challenged, go different places around the world, interact with different cultures, and get to challenge what I know. Like that's how I would define freedom. I don't know what it means for you. I'll leave your thoughts in the comment section.
So as an intercultural communicator, I also have many foreign friends. But I don't think Chinese people and Western countries people are alien to each other. It's just the ignorance that sets us apart. As human, we all have something that we want to cherish most. So the initial intention of my channel is to encourage people to embrace a new perspective, to understand the logic behind each superficial phenomenon. So yeah, maybe freedom isn't universal, it's contextual. If we have to give a universal definition for freedom, I think it would be freedom is being free from whatever is oppressing you.